Today, we are hanging out with Sameena Khan. Sameena will be sharing with us the amazing work she has been doing in Gambia to bring homeopathy to the local people. If you're interested in the trip of a lifetime while making a difference in the lives of thousands of people, then get in touch with Sameena or the Center for Homeopathic Education about the next trip to Gambia or to find out how you can help to support this project. To learn more about Sameena, visit www.transcendenttransformation.com. That's transcendenttransformation.com. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now my mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout podcast. Today we get to hang out with the lovely Sameena Khan. Welcome to the show, Sameena.
Thank you, Eugene, and thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. We have a mutual buddy in Marcus Fernandez who said, Eugenie, you have to interview Sameena. So whatever Marcus says, I do. So it is really wonderful to have you here on the show. Before we get into all the good stuff, can you tell, not that talking about yourself is not good stuff, but tell us the journey about how you first got introduced to homeopathy. What was your journey?
Well, my journey was many years ago, more than 30 years ago, actually. I got introduced to homeopathy because of my daughter. As most mothers get introduced to homeopathy because of their children. And my daughter had a serious condition which nobody could diagnose as such. So I spent thousands of pounds on private hospital doctors to try and understand what is wrong with this baby. Now, what was wrong? She had this severe skin condition and they couldn't give it a label or diagnose it because they didn't know. So after spending thousands of pounds, they just said, oh, give her this prescription. And it was a liter bottle of antibiotics to give 4 times a day for 4 months. So it's continuous antibiotics for 4 months, 4 times a day. And she wasn't 1 year old yet. So she was a baby, breastfed baby. And I was thinking, wow. And because it was a private hospital in London, private dermatologist hospital, because she had skin issues and her skin was bleeding unnecessarily from under the armpit. Her scalp was like a parched desert. And I couldn't take her outside because people would say, oh, what's wrong with your kid? Because her face and scalp looked parched and cracked and no hair. If she a little bit of hair that grew, if I tried to just comb it, the whole scalp would come off like raw meat. So it was that severe. Hence, going private, nobody could figure it. And then when they end at the end, after doing all the tests and hair tests and everything else, they just said, we're not sure. It could be severe crater cap, severe eczema, severe cirrhosis. I can't remember the fourth one. There was 4 different labels they gave it. Could be either one of these, but we're not sure. So then they gave this 4 liter. So what really triggered it, I think, I went to the pharmacy within the hospital, private hospital, and he gave me this brown liter bottle of antibiotics. And I said to him, so where's the little piece of paper with this? What's the side effects of this? And he said, he was really right. He said, just go and give it with food. And that triggered something, something negative triggers something. And that triggered, I'm thinking, you think I don't know? Do you think I'm not educated? Do you think, and it really wrecks me up thinking, you're telling me to give this to my child and you won't give me the small print to it. Anyway, I walked away, went home and was crying to my dad. And there was one of my dad's friends or uncles, I can't remember at the time. And I said, I don't know what to do with this baby. And he said, have you tried homeopathy? That was it. I went, what's that? So as mothers, we would try anything to ease our babies. We would pay $1 million if we could to just ease our babies. So when someone said, have you tried this? And I'm thinking, what is this? And then my journey in homeopathy began. I looked up a local homeopath. I went to see him and he was really good. And I saw her starting to heal. Her skin started to heal. And I thought, wow, my baby's coming through again. I could see her face coming clear. And I really wanted to learn more. But unfortunately, that particular homeopath didn't want to tell me more. And he said, you don't need to know. I said, I need to know. And I wanted to learn this stuff because for me, it was, wow, this is amazing. What is this stuff? At the time, I was a programmer, IT programmer. I was system analyst programming. And it's like programming. What is this new stuff that can program the body and start healing? So that was my journey. So I went, because the homeopath at the time didn't want to share any knowledge, I went to my favorite place, the local library.
I can tell with all those Britannicas behind you. Holy moly.
The whole room is full of books. And I went to my local, and my first book that inspired me in homeopathy was by Dr. Marjorie Blackie. She was physician to the royal family. And she wrote the book, The Homeopathic Bouquet. I'm not even sure if it's in print now. But that inspired me because she was a medical doctor to the royal family. She's written this book about homeopathy and she treats the whole royal family with it. Wow, this is something there if the royal family is using it. And she's a medically trained doctor who's also using homeopathy. So that, and the whole story in Homeopathic Bouquet and her case stories, and that inspired me. And the journey began. I started to learn more. Then I wanted to train at that time. And I went back to the homeopath and he said, no, you can't train. I said, why not? He said, you're a woman. And I said, what's wrong with me being a woman? You might kill someone. I went, I thought homeopathy was safe. How can you tell me I'm going to kill someone? So that was the response I got. And I thought, and when someone says you can't do it, watch this space. Don't tell me I can't do it because I will prove I can. And that's what happened. I went searching and looking for training in homeopathy, reading more and more books. I'm a book geek. I ended up doing midwifery in homeopathy because pregnant woman couldn't take anything. I knew a lot of pregnant women at the time. And because obviously I had a 1-year-old baby. So I did a diploma in midwifery and homeopathy. Then that inspired me to go into women's health and children in homeopathy. And then that took me further to CHE. And that's when I met Marcus. And then the journey just grew and grew and grew. Because for me, homeopathy was a passion. Because it helped my child. And I'm a mother, I'm a woman in power. It became a passion to really spread that flag of homeopathy to the world and to the people around us.
Oh, that's amazing. Now, the reason Marcus said to get in touch was the Gambia clinic. He's just only very briefly mentioned it, like here and there in conversations, but I need to know all the deets. So what is it? When did it start? What does it do? Because I don't know anything about it.
Okay. So as I following on, actually follows up quite nicely. So my passion is to really spread homeopathy and what it does and how amazing it is to the world. And it was one of my clients, one of my patients. She grew up with homeopathy, but she couldn't find a homeopath in London. And then someone mentioned her to me. I was still a student at the time. And she came to see me and it was, for her, was like, wow, I found the homeopath I'm looking for. And my remedy, Marcus always said, what was that first remedy that really got? It was China. Like Samuel Hahnemann, it was China that did it for me. And she cleared out for weeks of this diarrhea that she had. And that dose of China did it. And she was doing Wales for Gambia at the time. She was doing charity work. And she was on my back for almost 6 years, actually. You need to come to Gambia. You need to come to Gambia. And I'm thinking, I don't want to go to Africa for. And I left it. And then something came in my head. As you know, behind me, I'm a book geek. Many years ago, when my oldest was small, I used to read Reader's Digest. And in there was an article about a guy, a businessman, who had done his life's work and he was satisfied, he was financially free, etc. But he felt there was something missing and he wanted to give back. And what he did was he went back to medical school. He went to medical school, trained as a medical doctor, but not to practice it it was the US, I think, the UK, I can't remember the time, and went to Africa to treat the people for free as a medical doctor. Now, that seed was planted in my head, probably my son's 32. So you're looking at probably 30 years ago, maybe more than that seed was planted. So when she was on my back, come to Africa, that seed woke up. Oh, yeah. Because I always said to myself, I would love to do that. Go to Africa and help people. So when she kept bugging me, which was really good, as we say, stimulating my system, that seed woke up. And I may not be a medical doctor, but I'm a homeopath, which is even better. And that said, okay, I'm ready for Gambia. I'm ready for Africa. And I did my first trip. And it was scary, I have to say, because I've never been to Africa before. None of my family had ever been to Africa before. And they're saying, why do you want to go to Africa? It was like, I said, I've got this. But then I had the calling. I felt a very strong calling. I have to go to Africa. And I did not have an answer. See, I'm on my soul's journey. So when you realize what your purpose in life and what your soul journey is, there is no ifs or buts. It is what it is and nothing can stop you. And by that time, I could feel it. It was coming toward. I thought, no, I have to get to Africa. So my family went against me. Nobody was talking to me because even my ex-husband, and he said, you can't, I'm not giving you permission to go to Africa. And I'm thinking, oh, I was on this chair and I went to my laptop and went, click, I was just booked. No refunds. No. And that was the beginning of my first trip to Africa. And when I went there, I had a friend and I was having coffee with her. She was at TH at the time. I can't remember what thing. And I said, I'm going to Africa next week and no one's talking to me. And she goes, well, I'll come with you. I said, oh, will you? Her name was Danielle. I said, yeah. And then she joined me and then we went. And the lady that took me out there, she already had an itinerary to villages. So there was an agenda to say, you're going to village A, B, and C. And there's people are expecting you.
Wow.
And wow. And do you know what I took with me? It was my little kit. I think
Little Helios kit.
At the time it was a Helios kit. This is the name for it. It was a Helios kit.
Yeah.
And that's all I had. And I went with that. And that was mind blowing. It was insane. But it was 1 week. I came out, and that time I didn't have mobile and the Sims. You couldn't get hold of people. So I came out the hotel in Africa, and it was like 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. And I'm thinking, how am I going to call that lady? So I went across the road to this internet cafe. Remember those? Yeah. I went to the internet cafe. And it was crazy. I saw this guy watching something, but I was totally shocked. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what's happening to this guy? It was like, it really threw me off track. But then I managed to get to the internet, find her and get an email saying, how do I contact you? Da, da, da. Anyway, from there onward, that week was intense. We were taken from village to village and there was hundreds of people waiting. And I had this kit.
And it's just the two of you?
Just the two of us. And I was the most experienced at the time. And for me, I'm learning. And then I'm going to my keynotes really, because became a passion. It was my soul's journey. I had to make it happen. And with that one kit, we were giving remedies in water. Okay, a bit of sulfonic, a keynote for coming up. Because you don't have time. As we know, as homeopaths, you need the hour consultation or half an hour. You're really taking detail. Here, it's acute prescribing. You're going. And so the kit, and then when we finished, it was like, when you're coming back, and I'm thinking, no, am I coming back? Great question. And then that was when the journey began with Marcus and saying, I can't turn my back on these people. There was hundreds, and more waiting where we had to close up. And that's when I came back and said, Gambia project has to begin. And met Marcus, met Hillary Dorian, and all these were my board members. We got together and said, this is what we need to do, Marcus. And Marcus and me have this connection. We need to make Africa the hub for homeopathy. And so the journey began, and I lived there. And there was an opportunity to work with the president of the Gambia. Got known to the ministers. I got known to the health minister. The health minister was treated with homeopathy. The president knew about homeopathy because he was into alternative medicines as well, and herbs and traditional medicines, should be the name. And I got invited to have an audience with the president and his ministry. And that journey then took me to another level of learning and bringing people to Africa. I then had to make a decision. I had the opportunity I was appointed the CEO of the President Foundation, and that was across the board. So health, women empowerment, youth empowerment, agriculture, education came under the remit. And it was like, how many women like us get an opportunity like that every day? You know what? I'm going to take it. And I took it. And I gave up my life in the UK. I then moved. I spoke to my children. I moved to Gambia, worked with the president on the needs of the people across the country. But now and we were doing before, I'm just going to rewind. Before that, when I came back with Marcus and Hillary and everybody, we got together. We started doing mobile clinics once a year, first of all, and we took students and homeopaths out, and we were going with a bus of 12 across the country, treating people. By now, we had, obviously, I would have a team like 10 to 12, a team of people coming out with me. And for them, the 1 week was life-changing. It was an experience, your quick prescribing. And it was from there when we were offered a piece of land, community land in where the clinic is now, Mandwa. And they said, we've seen you come back here several times. We would like you to build us a clinic for the community. And it was community land. We said, okay. And that's when we started to build the clinic where we are today. And that is in Mandwa. At the moment there's 20,000 people, no access to any health center. Putting homeopathy aside, no health center, right? So you're looking at, when you go to Gambia in Africa, you're looking 18th century. You need to go back a bit to understand the dirt roads, the infrastructure, the internet is not what you get here in London. And then from there, when we started building it, it was at that point then when I had the audience with the president, because of the work that we were doing there, I took on the offer and let go of my life here challenging, went through extreme challenges at the time. I lived there for 7 years.
Wow.
And the clinic was doing amazing. We had a Polish homeopath sitting there full time. And we trained a medical nurse up into homeopathy. He was working with him. We had people from neighboring countries, from Senegal, from Guinea-Bissau, from Guinea-Bissau, people coming in from the borders. They heard about this clinic that was helping people, and they heard about the quick results, and it was all natural. Africa loves natural because they're traditional medicines, right? And people of the government were being treated. The health minister had been treated. So it was thriving. And that time I was now in the Gambia. I was working with the president. We were going across the country, seeing the needs of the people, from the health, from the agriculture. We were going to grow. One of our visions, I'm going to come to that in a second, but it was going across there. And at that point, at one point, ECOWAS came along, government changed. COVID was about to come into play just before then. The kids needed me here. I came back and everything closed off. Yeah, because then we got COVID. The Polish homeopath, he was of age and he had a sudden heart attack. Unfortunately, he passed away. And so the whole thing just closed for a while. And I came back here and then I realized, and the challenges that I had gone through while I was in Gambia, I nearly lost 2 of my sons. They nearly died. I've got 3 kids, 2 boys and girls. 2 of my boys nearly died. So one came to Gambia to meet mummy and decided to stay with mummy for a while and went to school there. But then he contracted cerebral malaria, complicated with meningitis. Wow. He lost his gait, he lost his speech. And I couldn't lift him. He was about 11, he was about 12 then. And I couldn't lift him to get to the bathroom. And I dropped him in the bathtub. And I'm thinking, Lord, what are you doing? What am I doing? These boys, because we didn't catch the malaria because it wasn't coming up in the blood test. And then I realized when I did research that cerebral malaria is obviously inflammation of the meninges and it goes undetected sometimes. And going more research, I found out that it was Africa's biggest problem. And so I was shown Africa's biggest problem through my child. Yeah, and he couldn't speak. He was like someone that's just had a stroke. Then he was doing this to me and he couldn't walk. And we were because when we finally caught it, was hidden in the kidneys. We finally caught it. And because I was friend with the doctors and we didn't have hospitals, we had health centers. So what we did was he said to me, go in what you need to go in. I will go what you need. And I said, we need to get this boy better. We just need to get him. He couldn't walk. And then that's when I have this connection with God. And I said, God, what do you want me to do? You put me in Africa for the children of Africa. Are you going to take my one child for the children of Africa? Those kind of thought.
Yeah. It goes through your mind, hey?
It doesn't it? What am I here for? And then I got my answer. The children will be saved. Because when my daughter said, Mom, we need to take him back. I said, can't. He's in high fever. I can't even get on a flight. And then by the time social services were looking for me in this country, my husband said I kidnapped the kids and he was dying. He was dying.
My word.
So you go through those challenges. But
And then on reflections,
it makes you who you are, the strength and the stamina. But anyway, he was a miracle child. He came through. I went in with homeopathy. I also told him to go with quinine at the time. We had to get both things in. And we did. And we got him through the drip because this boy had never taken drugs in his life before. And I thought he ain't going to, because he was purely homeopathic baby, child. And so we got him home over the weekend. Long story short, and within 3 months of him recovering, trying to walk again, he was a miracle child because the history and the research that I had read on cerebral malaria was that yes, it's Africa's biggest problem, but it's also children become intellectually impaired. And for me, it's like, he was top of the class. What's going to happen now? But anyway, so we didn't give up hope. We continued with the remedies. We worked on him. And within 3 months of him recovering, my oldest was in the UK. He got stabbed and was dying. So within 3 months, again, the challenge is that what you do. And he was helicoptered to Royal London. I got the phone call that he was on his way from work. He had to put his leg up because he was through the car window. It was one of those crime things. And he lost too much blood. They said he was dying. So I'm thinking, Lord, 3 months. 3 months, one son is dying. Next 3 months, the next son is dying. What are you doing to me? What do I need to know? And then you go through, and then I had to come back to the UK just to see him. He was on tubes. They said he would never walk again. His leg was severed in many areas, and he had to have bypasses and so on. Fast forwarding, I said, again, God said, he will be fine. If you're going to go and see him now. And okay. So I came undercover because social services were still looking for me. I came undercover to see him. And I said to my son,
I hope you're turning all of this into a book.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And then my son said, I said to my youngest, your brother's dying. He's been stabbed. I need to go to him. And he goes, Mom, you were here when I was dying. Go. He needs you. And that touched my heart. And I had to tell I had loads of people I knew in Gambia, but not close friends. So I had to tell my driver who was loyal, can you keep an eye on my kids? I need to run to UK to be with the oldest. And that's 5 days in the UK, undercover. I told him he will be fine. And when he convalescents, he needs to come and we'll get him through in Gambia. And then after 5 days, I went back after seeing my son. The journey continues. And then that's where I came to when everything changed and I came back. The kids needed me. I had sent the kids back after he recovered and everything. So they were back in the UK. Everyone wanted me back. The guy, my son that was stabbed, did come to Gambia, lived with me for a few months, really went for convalescences. And when they said he couldn't walk again, came on crutches, he was wheelchair. By the time we got him through all the healthy and the nature and everything else, he was walking without crutches and I sent him back to the UK. Wow. And so building the bridge. And that's soon after I came back and everything closed. And then after we came through COVID, there was a big calling. I need to get back. I need to get back to Gambia. In the meanwhile, I had opened up a wellness center, vegan restaurant, and everything that from that, any juices linked to your mind, body connection, the juices linked to your liver, your kidney, healthy and real health connection. And I said, every juice you buy from this shop is going back to Gambia. And on the wall, I had the whole story of Gambia painted. Wow. And people said, what's that then? I said, so that was the aim, to give back, to create my bridge back. COVID hit the first weekend that I was open. No. My seats were full. And I thought everyone was saying, open on a Sunday, because Sunday was my clinic days. My homeopathy clinic has always been my savior, because I'm passionate about homeopathy. So I wasn't open on Sunday because I was doing my patients. And then I went, okay, let me turn my patients here and there, open up on a Sunday. Opened up, the seats were full. People were walking out. And I thought, wow, this is amazing. The following Sunday was COVID lockdown. Wow. It was lockdown in the UK. And then the delivery guys, Uber and Just Eat and everybody said they wouldn't take me on board because I was too new and too small. And they had to prioritize the big companies, McDonald's, all the big companies. And it took its toll. I struggled for 2 years with that. And then I just had to close it and liquidate it because it was hard being on your own and doing it. But it was a learning curve, an expensive learning curve. And that's when I thought, this ain't taking me back to Africa because it didn't happen right. I need to find another way back to Africa. And that's when I started working on my mind and everything else. We need to get back. That's when I approached Marcus and everything else. We need to get this clinic open. The people are calling. I just feel this strong.
Africa has a way of doing that to people.
Yeah, we always had this strong connection to Africa, and we knew it's my soul's journey. We just need to find another way to get back. And we did. And CHE has now become part of CHE. The clinic has become part of CHE. And the aim, the vision now, see how things happen, it just taking it to another level. Our vision for the clinic in Gambia now is not just a clinic, it's a training hub, it's the college, it's a branch of Chi. It's becoming the training hub for Africa, not just Gambia. So we get people coming there. Our vision is big. And one stepping stone, we already have a nurse there, a medical nurse who's also a lab technician. He is being trained through Chi on homeopathy. When I was there just a few months ago, we had an inspection. We're still renovating because by the time I got back, the clinic had been closed for some time and it's Africa. The doors had been eaten, the plumbing was gone down, the solar panels were not working. We had solar. That village didn't have electricity at the time, so we had solar. That was broken down. So it had deteriorated. So the job was to bring it back up again, which we were doing. Do you know what was most touching, Eugene? When I went back and we had this meeting in the village, and 3 key people of my board was the village chief and one of the board members, and the guy who first introduced me. So we ran this meeting. He said, do you know what? He said, there were so many opportunities to give this clinic away because it's a community clinic. A lot of Swiss doctors, a lot of other people came. It's a good quality clinic. And there was this pressure to give it away. And they said, but we knew you would be back. Our heart told us you. Until we hear from you, we are not giving it to anyone. And then now you are back. We're happy you're back. And we're happy, Marcus. And they gave this really touching speech for Marcus. And it was so emotional for, wow. They believed in you and they waited for you and we were back. So now we're going to take that to a whole different level. I've gone back to the ministry, working with the Ministry of Health in the Gambia, and this is going to enhance the ministry's hoping to do with health around the people of Gambia. What we are doing is I then made the connection. We are also part of the organization Traditional Medicine in the Gambia, which homeopathy become part of. We had a whole event which I spoke on stage talking about homeopathy as part of the traditional medicine itinerary. I also lectured at the midwifery college on bringing homeopathy into midwives.
Yeah.
We haven't fully completed, but we're renovating because there's a lot of work to do in Gambia. It's a bit slow sometimes. But we had an inspection from the ministry to make this part and they went through all the checklists, and I was like, oh, really nervous and thinking, oh my God, tell me it's under renovation. Yeah, I know this needs to be done. Okay. And we have finally, the inspection went through, and we are the first of a kind that got the license from the Ministry of Health to work as a traditional medicine homeopathy. We are so proud of that.
Wow.
That's never been done before. We are proud to say we are now part of that. We have the license from the Ministry of Health, which gives us that credibility and that power to bring the help to the people where it's needed. So this clinic is, imagine a top medical clinic with all the things that needs to be in place. The only difference is homeopathy is being prescribed. So we will be having blood tests for malaria and things like that. Because my nurse is also a lab technician. He can also do blood tests. We'll be bringing in a team of people. So the only thing we won't have is admissions. Yeah, they wanted it was not ready yet. But people will be coming. They'll be getting blood tested. So everything been going with the protocols of how things should be done to top standard. The only difference is that we are now prescribing homeopathy. For me, that's like, wow. And then
somebody needs to make a documentary of this.
Yeah. Somebody out there's going to come.
Yeah.
And then it's the training. Now, people from the suburb, from other health centers can come together, be trained in homeopathy, take their kit with them to their clinic and then prescribe. Because you people have a choice. Yeah, especially with Africa, you have a choice. But people do tend to go towards traditional medicine. Homeopathy is part of that package now. And one of the other things we're looking at is a homeopathic pharmacy, bringing that together. Traditional medicine people had brought to my attention that they're trying to preserve their natural herbs and things that they did naturally. And we know it has great benefit, the barks and so on. So one of the visions would be to bring all that, turn it into homeopathic potenize, get them into homeopathic remedies. You're preserving that memory of that particular herb and plant, and we can turn them into homeopathic remedies. How amazing is that? And that's the preservation of traditional medicine of Africa. So this is where they're taking that to another level.
I think you'll have to get Mikhail Yakir to go and do one of her triturations in Gambia. She's doing one in Thailand this year and in hopefully Australia next year. And maybe you can convince her to go to Gambia the year after and do triturations of all of the native plants. That would be incredible.
Yeah, and then that preservation of the native plants of Africa, isn't it? And then she will become, like we said, it's not just, we've got the homeopathic pharmacy region, we've got the training and everyone. So I met Rebecca Sturgeon recently, and she was doing homeopathy in Cape Town in South Africa.
It's been on the podcast twice as well.
Actually, yeah. So Rebecca, we hit off like a house on fire.
Yeah. I can imagine you would.
Marcus said, you need to connect with Rebecca. Me and Rebecca, it was 7 o'clock in the morning. Are you free now? Yeah, okay then. We were on the phone almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I can imagine. I wish I was a fly on that phone call.
Yeah, honestly, it was absolutely amazing. And now me and Rebecca will be working together as well. And from her people that she's been training in South Africa, from the bishop and pastors, we're going to see how we can get them to Gambia and really build that bridge. So this project with CHE is Africa. Gambia is our hub, but it is Africa. And it's where we need to be as homeopaths and helping people and moving it to the next level. And this is why coming back to the UK, it helps build that bridge. So I'm here, not going to wanting to stay there no more, but because I can now bring people together. I'm looking for, now that we're on this podcast, I'm looking for homeopaths that would love to come and spend some time at the clinic, shadow my nurse, Lamin, his name is, and whether it's a week, a month, 2 months, like previously we had the other homeopath there. So any volunteers that are willing to come and spend some time in Africa, just send them through. And that's for anyone out there. part of CHE, we are also looking at students later on. Students will be coming out as well, spending a week there. But currently, I'm looking for homeopaths, volunteer homeopaths that are happy to give their time and energy for whatever time they have, a week or 2 or more for Gambia Clinic. We should be in.
Is it easy enough to get accommodation there, or like how?
Accommodation we will sort, because at the moment we haven't officially opened yet. Gambia's a bit slow, and I'm waiting for Lamy to come almost a 3/4 or almost done on his training, because we're following all the Ministry of Health protocols. We need to make sure everything's in place. So I cannot have him there alone unless he's supervised. So I will be going out there, but I can only stay X amount of time, and then I want someone to follow me X amount of time, then someone to follow that person, and someone to follow that person. Yeah. So we've got someone there like on a rota, one after the other, while he's being trained. And we're using whatever we are training at Chi combines, we will have a proper setup, protocols, blah, 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 and see how it goes. Yeah. So this is where we're getting towards. So now it's going to be rainy season in Gambia. So I'm pushing the opening more towards after Bali, because we're going to be in Bali, right?
Yes, I'm so glad you're coming. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, so after Bali. And then by then, hopefully we've had some homeopaths signing up one after the other that I can put them on a rota to be in Gambia. Accommodation in the village itself, we're looking at accommodation within the village. The village development committee is always part of what we do. So they have a place that they're going to do up. There's also not too far away accommodation, a hotel. We just got arranged for them to get to the clinic. Basically, where there's a way, where there's a will, there's a way.
I can tell. That's your motto.
Yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. We'll find a way. Don't worry about it.
And can people donate to the Gambia project, or how?
Yes, they can.
Yeah.
Yes, they
how
can.
do they do that?
If you go into Chi website, see, and I think it's up there, but I'll confirm with Marcus. There will be a link on the CHE, and there's going to be a link that takes you into Chi Gambia, and then from Chi Gambia, there's people where people can actually donate towards the clinic as well. And the donations will help us get more stuff like equipment, remedies, and so on. Books, I'm always looking for books donation as well. If people want to send their old books and stuff to Gambia, every little bit helps.
Do they speak English? I
Yes.
guess they've got their local languages as well.
Yes, in Gambia we have 15 local languages,
Wow.
4 being the main local language. In the village, there's 2 main local languages, all of them are Dinka. English, because it was British colony, 400 years in the Gambia, English is one of the main spoken languages, like
great.
Senegal, French, and in Gambia, it's English. So in the schools, it's English.
Okay.
But there's always going to be, if someone doesn't speak English, especially in the elders, there's always going to be a translator. My aim is to bring training to a certain level, not the full training course, but actually having that translated as well in Wolof. And nowadays we can do that with the kind of software that we have these days anyway. And that will make people understand it. Because when we were doing mobile clinics, we treated hundreds and thousands of people over the years. It was just crazy. And it was insane, actually, because some places we had to close up, we had to get the ferry back. And it was like, you think you've done hundreds of people and you look up and forget, where do these people come from? There's another few hundred sitting there. That's how insane it is. So one of my visions is to pick that back up, mobile clinics from Gambia. The other vision I'm going to share is a hospital ship to go up the river and just to test it. Eugene, because sometimes there's people that may have high blood pressure, may have diabetes, may have something simple that we see in the West, but they are unaware of it. So if they get a wound when they're collecting firewood, they don't realize that they're diabetic, and that wound is not getting spread in, it's gangrenous, wasn't getting better. And I've had many cases. I could talk for many cases that people died because they didn't know they were diabetic, and the wound got infected or got septic or it's gangrene and so on. Simple. And same with high blood pressure. They don't realize they have high blood pressure. They're walking around in the sun. Oh, I've got a bad headache. They've had a stroke and things. So there's many cases that can be prevented. And for me, if we can just get the testing done up the river and then create something training on basics, and people, it's the simplicity of things. And that is Sameena. That's like homeopathy. Let's keep things simple. And I always find when we keep things simple, even in ourselves, we achieve more and are more successful. Just simplify everything and get to where you get to. So that's one of my visions of the ships. And we're going to pick up the mobile clinics again. So there will be people, once the clinic is open, there will be opportunity to travel across the country at sites and do acute prescribing like we used to. And that is intense. That's hundreds and thousands of people. Sometimes you see in a week, we used to be able to see about 1,000 people in a week on average.
Wow.
And we had high success results. Everything was documented. So it wasn't just blindly giving.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing when you're treating people that haven't been suppressed their whole lives with medication, then you do get those great results. I'm sure it must be very satisfying.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. As you can see, get me talking. Yeah. The cases would come out of your ears and the kind of amazing. That's why I'm so passionate about homeopathy, because I know I can't kill them. Full stop. It's so safe. It stimulates the body's own natural healing process. And what is so beautiful when we do people with homeopathy is that somebody could be in so much pain, they can't feed their family because they can't go to the fields and work because their pain of their back is to that devastating. They can't feed their family. And this is a very poor country. So when you give them some arnica or some rustox and it's helped them back stand up again and they can now feed their family, no money can buy that. And we have cases. I remember once when Hillary was out there, we had cases like that, and they told the story about what happened when we treated them previously and then the next treatment. We were all in tears.
Oh,
because it's life-changing. So what we do with homeopathy, whether it's in the Western world, whatever country in the world, especially in Africa, it's life-changing. It transforms people. It gets people out. Hence why the whole thing around what we do and why we do this is why we do what we do. And what do we get from this? It's this whole soul journey, transforming lives. It's just, it gets you emotional. It's like, if someone said to me, stop, I would done.
I have a feeling that's with you with anything, if anybody tell you to stop.
Watch me.
So I just checked chehomeopathy.com. I couldn't see anything about Gambia on there, but it's easy enough to get in touch with CHE from there.
Yeah,
and
I
so
will chase it. I know someone, Glenn's doing it. I know he's on it. I had the meeting with him some time ago. So I would chase him, make sure that link's up then.
That'll be amazing.
Yeah, we'll be up soon.
Great. And then you've got all sorts of other things, like your own things that you do as well with mindset coaching and all sorts of things. Can you tell us a little bit about what you've got in the pipeline there?
So now I've combined, because of the challenges that I went through, and especially coming back here, I went through even a more challenge. I went through a very difficult divorce. Gambia lost me, my husband as well. And with the shop, there was a lot of challenges. And I learned from that challenges. And there was a point when I went really down. 2 areas in my life when I went really down. Once when I was in Gambia, my thorax closed and I had to go to Senegal, and they said I was dying. And the vice president sent me to A&E, and I'm thinking, I can't go to A&E. I ain't got time. I need to pick the kids up from school. And then she goes, you ain't going to go nowhere if you don't get treated. And there's a Cuban doctor, he was a really good friend, and a Cuban doctor, and his wife was head of A&E, and she said, and they started pumping me with all this. And I'm like, you can't put me all this needles. But what that taught me, obviously I'm still here, I didn't die, but they said I was dying at the time. My thorax was closing, so I couldn't speak and I couldn't breathe. And I was in A&E, and then I saw the doors opening and closing. I went to the bathroom and there was cockroaches jumping up and down. I'm thinking, oh my God, this is not A&E. We need to get help here. They made you to see the needs more because you're in it. And you get through that. And when I came here and I opened up the shop, and then I was closing the shop, and at the same time when I was closing the shop, I was going through I think it's 5-6 year divorce, which now finally came to head and had to go to court. And I went down on my health, really down. And I'm thinking, and the thing that shifted, I'm thinking, I can't let this get me. I've got so much to do. I remember and then I got COVID. And then I remember being in bed and I couldn't breathe. And I thought, I've got to do Africa yet. I've got to do this yet. I've got to do that yet. You can't take me now. I remember having this conversation with God. Can't take me now. I've got to do that. I thought this was my soul's journey. What you doing? So these thoughts went through my head. And that's when I thought the only one person, and I went to see some therapists and homeopaths and acupuncturists, I mean, anything. And then there was one acupuncture on the other side of London said to me, Sameena, you know this is all stress, right? And I'm thinking, duh, of course. And I came home on that rainy day, hungry. I'm thinking, I am the only one that's able to shift this. And that's when I went more into mindset and really working with Bob Proctor, I spent working with different coaches and so on, and turned it around. My thumb, Eugene, was like this, and I couldn't write. And he was in so much pain, and I had to do this. And my osteopath said, Sameena, you've got to stop seeing patients. You can't write. I said, no, I can't do that. And then she said, I can't do that either. And then I was limping. I was in so much pain. I was limping from the car to get to health. So if I got up from here to go and get the remedy, I was limping. I think, oh my God, what my patient's going to think. So it was all that whole thing. I turned it around with the mindset. And nothing else was used but my mindset. And I said to myself, right, from this day, I am pain-free. And it was for the 1st of April at that time. And I woke up, I think 2 or 3 days before the 1st of April. And I wasn't limping to the bathroom. And I'm thinking, shit works. This works. And I start really going into myself, really shifting those paradigms from the past, really shifting that. And then this became 70%, 80%. And now I have a straight thumb, right? And it's amazing for me. And for me, it's amazing. And I walk the talk, because if it could do this to me with the same remedies that I was taking previously, but I worked more power on the mind, wow. And it can do for anyone else. So I bring mindset coaching into my consultations now. And while I was doing the shop, I was also with Don Dreski, I did a living nutrition course on nutrition. I'm bringing that information in. So now I'll combine it, homeopathy with nutrition and mindset.
Wow.
So where are you? What are you doing? Yeah. And because we are holistic. Yeah. So what we put in our bodies, yes, but it's not the answer. What remedies? Yes, great. But then as we know with homeopathy, we're looking at how is the person feeling, mental emotion, and he's got this cough or cold. We always connect that. So really, it's already there, but I've just enhanced it to another level with the mindset coaching and really shifting people's mindset, because we are sick because of what's happening here. And that also linked me back to my training. It's my years of training in different areas and bringing it to where we are today. And when I used to be a program and a system analyst, and what does a system analyst do? We're analyzing system of the problem and finding a solution. A human analyst, like what we are now, is doing the same thing. So analyzing the whole body holistically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And we're bringing that spirit together, we're bringing that soul together and helping it click. And it's like that. I did that. It's like the cubic. Remember there's cubic and you're putting the color together and there's the color missing. And
Rubik's Cube. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. The Rubik's Cube. So this is why I bring that. And for me, it's transforming lives. And this is why my new website is Transcendence Transformation. We're on that journey of transcending and transforming our lives. And that's from that whole spiritual, mental, emotional, physical level. And that's what transforms people. I'm a woman in power. I like to empower my women because the women are the backbone of society. Excuse men, but they are the backbone of society. And if we can get them transformed, can you see the vibration of it? It's like with homeopathy when you drop it into the water and the vibration and the ripples.
Yeah, the ripples. Yeah.
Transform a woman, give her the strength and the backbone. The ripple effect it will have in her environment, from not just her family and her brothers and sisters, her work, her area. It will be amazing. And this is links back to Africa. The women are the backbone. They do the gardening or the vegetables. They carry the water on their head. They meet the needs of the husband. They go get the cooking done. They're looking at the finances. They're illiterate, and they still need to calculate finances. Yeah. And they've never been to school before. So they inspired me. Yeah. They're business women who've never been to school. Don't know how to read and write. Yet they had their ways. Wow. Yeah, so it becomes who they are. It's transforming that. So where we are now this is why I bring it together from that years of experience and expertise coming from everywhere. You bring it together, think this is where we're gonna go, and it's really now simplifying all that knowledge into what I'm saying now: transcendent transformation. Let us help you transform your life to another level.
Wow, transcendenttransformation.com or .co.uk.com.
.com.
Amazing.
Yeah. And, my Instagram is Transcendent Transformation. My Facebook is just my name, Sameena Aziz Khan. And we're in that process and it will be amazing. And this again builds my bridge back to Africa. It's what we do. We're transforming lives in Africa. We're making people sustainable. We're helping that backbone. And then from here, wherever you are in the world, whether Australia, Bali, UK, UAE, it doesn't matter. It's women or people across the world transforming and becoming this big power. Women are powerhouses, yeah? And it's creating that bubble, bringing the people together, giving them the power they deserve, the right that they deserve to be on this planet under their soul and where they are. whether they know their purpose yet or not. But when you treat it from the soul level, you treat it from the whole transformation, that's just automatic. It comes.
Sameena, that is amazing. And you've got so many exciting things on the go. I'm sure we're going to have lots more conversations like this by the poolside with a cocktail in Bali. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And I'll see you in person really soon.
Yeah, we will. Look forward to it. Thank you
all
so
the
much.
best.
Thank you.
Such
Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.